Hello everyone, and welcome to another installment of Fantastic Five. This week we're counting down the 5 best legacy superheroes in comics history. One of the benefits of this type of long-form, serialized storytelling that is the bread and butter of superhero comics is that over time, readers can see characters evolve and grow, and even pass their mantle on to a new generation. Such heroes are called legacy heroes, and when creators get it right, these new identities can provide a fascinating contrast to their predecessors, or even surpass them in quality. We're celebrating the 5 most successful successors in the genre. Before we get started though, here's a handful of cool characters who just barely missed the list this week. Kyle Rayner, the Green Lantern of the 90s, Jamie Reyes, the third Blue Beetle, Dick Grayson, the Happy Batman, Jack Knight, like the 15th or 16th Starman or something, and Jane Foster, the Mighty Thor. Now on to the top 5. Number 5, Malcolm Dragon. Malcolm gets the nod here in no small part because it's relatively rare to see legacy heroes outside of Marvel and DC. Obviously, this is primarily because there aren't that many independent superhero books long-running enough for the protagonist to pass the baton to a successor. But in the case of Savage Dragon, the combination of the facts that the book is one of Image's longest-running books, and that the story progresses in real time, means that, over the course of 20 years, Dragon had a son who has since grown up enough to take over the book from his father. In addition to having the strength and healing abilities of his father, he also inherited electrical powers from his mother, meaning he packs a real shocking wallop. Number 4, James Rhodes. James Rhodey Rhodes made his debut in 1979 as a Marine lieutenant who became Tony Stark's pilot and aviation engineer. But when Stark relapsed into alcoholism, Rhodey found himself in the red and gold armor of Iron Man. He held the identity for quite a while, and was even a founding member of the West Coast Avengers while in the Iron Man armor. But he was so great that even when Stark inevitably returned to the armor, Rhodey got his own set of armor and continued to fight the good fight as War Machine and later as the Iron Patriot. Number 3, Tim Drake. There have been so many Robins that it's become a punchline. But while Dick Grayson is the original, he really came into his own as a solo hero. Damian Wayne is awesome, but he works best as a counterpoint to Dick as Batman. Jason Todd is terrible, and you know it. The best Robin there is Robin number 3, Tim Drake, the one who is as good as a detective as Batman, and got the job by figuring out the Dark Knight's identity, and then dedicating himself to training to be Robin. Not Batman, not Nightwing, Robin. Tim built his life around being the best Robin, and he succeeded. Number 2, Kamala Khan. When Carol Danvers finally got the nod to inherit the mantle of Captain Marvel from Marvel, there was a vacancy in the role of Miss Marvel. Fortunately, it would be picked up by a young Pakistani-American girl from Jersey City named Kamala Khan, who would gain the ability to shapeshift following exposure to the Inhumans' Terrigen Mists. The wit and charm of her solo series, in addition to her authentic representation of a modern young Muslim in America, have combined to make Kamala one of the most successful new characters at Marvel in the last decade, reflected in her membership in both the Avengers and the Champions, and her presence in multiple Marvel video games. And number 1, Wally West. Debuting in 1959 as Kid Flash, the sidekick to the second Flash, Barry Allen, Wally West would go on to not only be a founding member of the Teen Titans, but he would also be the first DC sidekick to actually replace his mentor following Barry's death in Crisis on Infinite Earths. And in many ways, the formula was perfected with Wally, because he was quickly able to establish his own life, enemies, and supporting cast, while also starring in exciting adventures that managed to feel new while also showing respect to the history of the Flash name. While the mantle of the Scarlet Speedster has since been returned to Barry Allen, fans still know that Wally West is the real fastest man alive. That's all for this week. Join us again next week for 5 more rad things for rad people. Thanks for watching this episode of Fantastic 5. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Comics Alliance for more comic facts, and check out comicsalliance.com for more comic awesomeness.